Important piece of the Wrightsville Beach Museum of History.
In just 2 days, museum staff will have to move out of the Bordeaux cottage after getting a notice to leave from town leaders. WECT's Delaney Tarpley talked to the mayor of Wrightsville Beach about why aldermen sent that notice. Delaney, what does he say the town is doing this for?
Well, Fran, we were initially told by museum leaders they were being evicted, but Mayor Darrell Mills tells me they actually just terminated the lease after learning the museum's lease on the cottage had technically expired years ago. Officials just didn't realize it until recently, which is why they issued that notice.
Packing up the boxes, filled with thousands of memories from Wrightsville Beach's history.
It's been hard, really hard this week.
Executive Director Deidre Carney has been with the Wrightsville Beach Museum for a year.
And in that time, I have seen the best of Wrightsville Beach.
But now she has the task of putting the museum's artifacts in storage. The town sent a termination of lease notice last Friday, notifying Carney that the museum had to get out of the Bordeaux cottage, a building she says the museum has put a lot into.
Bordeaux Cottage is a critical part of the museum's operations. The museum took on the entire burden of relocating the cottage, refurbishing the cottage, and maintaining the cottage. We have invested over $300,000 in this process.
Mayor Darrell Mills says there's more to the story. After learning about issues related to the museum, town leaders decided to take a closer look. That's when Mills said he learned
the lease has actually been expired for a long time, and they've indicated no interest, asked at no time to extend, renew, renegotiate, anything, nothing.
Mills says he's surprised that since the notice last Friday, no discussions have happened between the two sides.
If they came to us and said, let's sit down and talk and renew it, the town is open to doing that. We have been open to doing that.
Carney says for now, her team is working on different ideas of what the museum could look like going forward. And she's hopeful.
With that, this is just a temporary transition, and that we're going to be able to build back better and ensure that these treasured memories are shared with the community like they're intended to be.
Up until now, the museum technically had 2 buildings. It has retained Myers Cottage just 2 doors down from Bordeaux Cottage. But Carney says Myers Cottage is really more of an artifact itself. She says most of the museum operations and artifacts were in Bordeaux Cottage, which is what makes this loss so difficult.
All right, thanks so much, Delaney.